Chapter 7 Jobs and Jobs. When I got off the bus, I zoomed to room 9. That's because I wanted job day to start very quick. Only first we had to take attendance, and then we had to say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. Except I don't know what that dumb story is even talking about. Then finally, Mrs. clapped her loud hands together. And guess what? Job day started. That's what. Boys and girls, you all look wonderful in your outfits, Mrs. said. I can't wait to learn what all of you want to be when you grow up. Who would like to go first? I would, I yelled out. Only then my best friend Lucille, she raised her hand very politely, and she got to go first. Well, Lucille looked the most beautifulest I've ever seen her. She was wearing a new dress that her Nana bought for her, and it was the color of pink velvet. And also she had on shiny pink shoes and socks with bows and laces on them. Lucille's Nana is loaded, I think. Lucille went to the front of the room, and she reached into a little bag and pulled out a sparkling crown with jewels on it. Then all of room 9 said, "Ooh," except for not the boys. When I grow up, I'm going to marry a prince, she said, and I'll be a princess, and my name will be Princess Lucille. And then she put the sparkling crown on her head, and she looked like a fairy tale guy. Well, Mrs. smiled. That's a lovely thought, Lucille, she said. I know, said Lucille. My Nana says if you marry a prince, you're set for life. And after that, Lucille said her dress costed 85, and her shoes costed 45, and her lacy socks costed 65 plus tax. And then Mrs. told Lucille to sit down. Ricardo went next. He was wearing a round yellow hat, and it was the kind of hat you can bang on. This is called a hard hat, he said. You have to wear it when you're building tall buildings, or else somebody might drop a hammer from way up high, and it could hit you on the head and kill you. Well, Mrs. smiled. So you're interested in construction, right, Ricardo? She asked. But Ricardo just kept on talking about other stuff that could fall on your head and kill you, like a paint can, an electric drill, and a lunchbox. Well, then Mrs. said, sit down to him, too. And that's when William raised his hand. Well, he was being very bashful, and he wouldn't go to the front of the room. You don't have to be nervous, William, said Mrs. Just tell us what you want to be when you grow up. Well, William covered his face with his hands. Super William, he said very quiet, and then he got out of his seat, and he jumped way high in the air. Only his cape got tangled up in his chair, and he crashed onto the table. After that, Super William got very sniffling, and Mrs. said we would get back to him later. Then lots of other kids talked about their jobs. Like a boy named Clifton is going to be a rich and famous astronaut, and a girl named Lily is going to be a rich and famous movie star, and also she wants to direct. And a boy named Ham is going to be a rich and famous boss of a big company. And he taught us how to say the word, you're fired. And here's the best of one of all. Because a boy named Jamal Hall is going to be the rich and famous president of the whole United States. Cool, said Ricardo. And then all the other boys said cool too. Well, I did a secret smile. Yeah, only not as cool as my job, I thought to myself. And then I raised my hand, very polite, and Mrs. called my name. Oh boy, I shouted. Oh boy, because mine is even better than the President of the United States. And I zoomed speedy quick to the front of the room. And then my excitement wouldn't stay inside of me anymore. A janitor! I'm going to be a janitor, I hollered out. And after that, I jingled my jangly keys, and I waved my paintbrush in the air, and I clapped and clapped. Only too bad for me, because nobody clapped back. And there's something even worse. Room 9 started laughing very much, and it was the mean kind of laughing. She wants to be a janitor, they yelled. And they pointed at my brown pants. And they called me the name of stupid. And I didn't know what to do because I felt very crumbling inside. And so I just kept on standing there and standing there. And my eyes got a little bit of wet in them. And my nose started running very much. And that's how come I covered my face up. They're not having courtesy for me, I said real soft. Only just then Mrs. clapped her angry hands together, and she scolded Room 9 a real lot. Junie B is right, she said. Being a janitor is a very important job. You have to be hardworking and reliable and very, very trustworthy. So I peeked through my fingers at her. Yeah, and don't forget the part where you have to save people from danger, I said. Then that Jim I hate laughed right out loud. Janitors don't save people from danger, you goony bird, he said. Well, I stamped my foot at him. Yes, they do. They do too. Because one time I was eating a dangerous lifesaver, and janitor made me spit it out. And also, he brought his flashlight to room 9, and he saved William from the dangerous dental floss. And then I held up my jingling keys. And see these things? Keys are what janitors unlocks the bathroom door with, or else we couldn't even go to the toilet. And then I showed him my paintbrush. And janitor paints litter cans too, I said. And painting is the funnest thing I love. That Jim did a mean smile. Yeah, well, too bad for you, but you're a girl. And janitors have to be boys, so there. Well, I run to his table. No, they do not, you stupid head Jim. Girls can be anything boys can be, right, missus? Right? Right? Because I saw that on Sesame Street and also on Oprah. Well, Mrs. did a smile, and then my bestest friend Grace started to clap. And guess what? All the other girls in room 9, they clapped too.